All right, ladies and gentlemen, good news. This is the final unit, or this is the final lesson of this entire unit. So we are close to the end. What we have today is called product sum identities. Basically, what this means is this is going to take a product of two trig functions with different angles and write it as a sum like this. So this is a product where we got the multiply right there to a sum where we've got the plus right there. Another product. And then here we have a difference. Here we have a product again. Here we have a difference. Here we have a product again. Here we have a sum. These are in general called product sum identities, and what we can do is we can use these identities to find exact values of certain expressions. And like I said, this is the last thing that we're doing. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example. Here it says, using the product sum identities, find the value, and our expression looks like this. Cosine 45 degrees times a cosine 35 degrees. Well, this involves two cosines. When we look up at the formulas here above, what we see is only one formula involving two cosines, which is this bottom formula right there, cosine x, cosine y. And so we're going to go ahead and basically use this formula to do this problem. And we're going to get an exact value for the expression. Now, if you type this into your calculator, you get a decimal value, but it wouldn't be the exact value. And so this is going to be something right here that we're going to be able to work through and get an exact value for. Let's go ahead and copy down this formula or identity right above our problem. So here what we've got is cosine x, cosine y equals, here we have 1/2 cosine of the sum plus cosine of the difference. So cosine of the sum, x plus y, plus cosine of the difference, x minus y. So what do? Well, x is going to be our 45, y is going to be our 15. And so what we can do right here is we can plug in those numbers on the right side as well. So here we're going to get cosine, and this will be x 45 plus 15, which is going to be 60 in a moment, plus cosine of 45 minus 15. Next step, well, let's do what's inside parentheses. So this is going to be cosine of 60 plus cosine of 30. Next, let's go ahead and clean this up using our knowledge of the unit circle. Cosine of 60 we know is going to be 1/2. Cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2. And why don't we go ahead and at this point distribute. And when we distribute, we're going to end up, of course, just multiplying the fractions together, giving us 1 over 4 plus square root of 3 over 4. But here we already have a common denominator, so let's combine 1 plus square root of 3. Denominator stays the same. And that would be the exact value of the product. All right, using this problem as a guide, I want you to go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, try problem number 2. So pause the video, try it, then we'll go through it. Do your best. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a look at problem 2. We'll do it similarly to problem 1. Now, in problem number 2, notice here we have a sine-sine situation, so we better find the formula with sine-sine. And that matches up, oops, sorry about that, overshot that, with this sine-sine. So let's copy this one down, and we'll use that as a guide. Let me go ahead and just write it right here above. It's going to be a little bit small, but we'll be able to write it nevertheless and use it. So here we get sine x sine y equals, and we've got 1/2 cosine of the difference minus cosine of the sum. So 1/2 cosine of the difference minus cosine of the sum. All right, now plugging in our numbers here, this time x is 225 and y is going to be 105. We're going to get 1/2 cosine of 225 minus 105 minus cosine of the sum 225 plus 105. Next step. Do what's inside parentheses, so we're going to get cosine. When we subtract here, we're going to get, that looks like 220 degrees minus the cosine of 330 degrees. Now, as I'm taking a close look at this value, when I subtracted, this should be 120. Yeah, sorry about that. That should be 120. Now, when we plug in our cosine 120 value, let's see, that's going to be -1/2 minus cosine of 330 is going to be square root of 3/2. Now let's perform our distributive property. Multiplying here, we're going to end up getting 1 times -1, -1, denominator 4, minus 1 times square root of 3 is square root of 3, denominator 4. And now we can combine these together with a common denominator, -1 minus square root of 3. Denominator stays the same. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. At this point in time, you can go ahead and print out the worksheet, which actually looks just like this. Do both sides. And that finishes up our last regular assignment of the unit. All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, that should get us all set. Once you're done with this, have a wonderful weekend. And then we will continue on Monday. No quiz on Friday.